This is Axiom Pro, the most amazing platform to trade meme coins on, or as many say, shit coins. But the reality is that most coins that you see on retail, which, for example, Binance, Kraken, Crypto.com, all these platforms that you see meme coins on, they all started here, right? Whether on BullX, Photon, Neo, or Axiom Pro. I used to trade on all of them, but once I found out about Axiom Pro in the last 2 weeks, I went full on in. So let me show you my portfolio in the last 7 days. I made $281, making a whole bunch of trades. Honestly, I mean, I learned so much. I lost quite a bit in the beginning. I actually lost, in the last 30 days, I lost $180 because I put in, in the beginning, I think about it now as a tuition, right? It's like going to school and learning a trade. But my P&L over the last 7 days has been much better, and I'm up $281. Let me walk you through my trades and show you kind of how I did it. So the best trade I had was Lulampi, and I kind of developed a strategy in the last few days of going in early, right? So if you look over here, you can see that my current average cost basis was $6,500, and I sold within, I think it was like 5-10 minutes, at $187,000 market cap. So the good thing about buying in early, I found, is that, by the way, if you can please use my code, it's the first link in the description. It'll save you 10% off of your fees and up to 20%, and you get cash back on every trade, whether you win or lose. And it helps me as I get a small percentage. And I also encourage you to give your referral code once you make an account to other people so you can also make money back. So you'll see that the strategy I used, and it's one that I use a lot now, it's either I go in very early on a very, very low market cap, or I go in on a high market cap, right? Like $1 million coin, right? So if it goes to, let's say, 100 million to 100x your money, right? But the thing is, most coins, there's roughly 65,000 coins a day that are launched. So you're not likely to make coins because 99.5% of them, right? 99.5% of coins rug. The developer pulls the liquidity out, right? So what I did was I bought in very low. Because the thing is, when you buy very, very low, let's say I bought it at 6,000, the lowest you can go to is, 3.5. Now that the market's a little better in the last week, it'll actually go down to like maybe 4 at the most. So if you buy in at $5,000 and it goes to $4,000, like the developer pulls it or the coin just goes to crap, then you'll lose 20%. So using the strategy, you might lose at most 20%, right? And one important thing to realize is that when you're buying, if you're not sure, what you could do is you can set an advanced trading strategy. So here, let me show you. What you're going to do is you're going to add a stop loss, right? I recommend, because there's so much trading volume in the beginning, whether buying or mostly selling, right? You want to I put usually 18-20%, and I'll go 100%, right? So it'll automatically sell at 100% once it goes minus 20%, right? And then if you want to hold, and you'll see like what I did, I bought it at $4.29 and I cashed out at $121. In this case, there was no take profit, because if there was, I would have probably put my take profit at, let's say, 200%, right? So I could 2x my money, right? When it goes to, let's say, 12,000 market cap, right? So, sorry, when it's up, let's say 100% from 6,500 market cap to 13,000, right? I'll take 100%, right? So in that case, it would instantaneously close the trade without me even being there, whether I'm walking my dog or whatever it is, right? It's automatic, right? But in this case, it was actually a coin that I went to get a grab to bite. I went to grab a bite from the fridge. I came back, and it was there. I was like, you know what? I'm out. And then a few minutes after, the coin went to zero. But you can see here that there's still liquidity in the coin. And now, the reason why that's important is because there's always going to be money for you to take out, no matter how much you put in, right? And the importance of that is it's insurmountable, right? Because you can see here when you go to filters in the new pairs, there's different protocols. Right now there's 8. Last week there was like 4. you want to make sure you only select the pump, right? So that there's always a liquidity pool. So if you go to any token that is filtered, you'll see 100% of the liquidity pool is burned, right? So there's always going to be money for you to pull out. If you go into Radium or another one, for example, all right, you're going to go into other ones that I have one over here, actually, over here. I was up within a few seconds, but because it was on a Radium protocol, see over here, the liquidity was completely depleted by the developer and I wasn't able to cash out. So even though I have $18 in P&L over here, I'm not able to touch it, right? So the strategy I do is I actually don't set any filters, right? Because the more filters you set, the less likely you are to find really good things, right? But the thing that I did find is that even though I have no filters, I'm always looking for pro traders, right? So you can see here there's holders and there's pro traders. Holders is not the same as pro traders. A holder could be made up by a developer's wallet or by an insider, or pretty much an insider is a wallet that was given access to the coin pretty much at launch by the developer, right? So whatever percentage you see here, at any given second, a coin can go up or down by that much. So let's go here. Here you'll see, here, let me find one here. The insiders are at 2%, so it can go up or down by 2%. So you want to make sure that all of these are in green, right? To enable positive trades, right? These are red now, you got to be careful. A lot of people are sniping, which means they're buying and selling quick. And the bundlers, that's something that you don't want to get into a coin where it's usually over 10 or 15%. Because what that means is that the developer could have sent money from one wallet and created hundreds of wallets. And in this case, you'll see the difference in pro traders and traders is like 10. So this could be in 10 different wallets and it could be depleted within 1 second, right? So what you want to do is you want to look for coins, and in the case that I gave you, what you could do is you could put pro traders at, let's say, 3, right? So you want to get a coin that's launched within the last 10 seconds that has 3 or more pro traders, right? So you'll see the developer sold. Once the developer sells, that's usually when people like to buy in, because if you get into a coin at a good time and then developer's still holding, 3 to 15%, it's very likely that he's going to rug you. And then you're going to, instead of being down 20%, at most, you might lose 100% of your money. So let's see over here. This has a pretty good amount of volume. Whenever you see candles like this, it usually indicates that it's not real and it's a scam and that it's being botted up. So you want to make sure that you stay out of that, right? So you can see over here in the last minute, there really hasn't been any coins. So I'm going to actually put the pro traders at 1. Okay, you see over here, this is launched at 4 seconds. Okay, all the way down. You see, it pretty much hit rock bottom. This one, Max Secret Test Dog. Look, I'll try and find an example for you of one that I would go into. And I'll put an indicator of where I would have bought and where I would have sold. Also, by the way, I'm buying based on news, right? I have a Twitter tracker open on my other screen. And you can see that anytime something is spoken about, coins are always being created based on the news. I actually found out the other day that the Pope died probably before Fox and CNN did, because meme coin, like on Axiom, using the Twitter trackers, that's literally where you get all the information. Like I just said Pope and you get Pope. So you'll see over here, X secret community. Okay, if I was to, let's say, buy right here, right? Okay, at let's say almost 5,000 market cap, and the coin ends up rugging, it'll maybe go to 4.5 at the most. So I might lose 5-10%, right? But if it ends up going to a million, to 100,000, I just 20x my money. So if I was to put in $100, I would 20x my money, right? So you want to make sure that you get into a coin very, very early. Okay, let's say for example, I bought at 5, and I just did a quick sell right there, right? What would happen is, let's see, okay, I'd be up 9%, right? So let's say you put in $100 times 1.09, you'd be up $9. That's not bad at all for being in a trade for less than a few seconds, right? So you want to make sure that you get into a trade incredibly early. Now, another strategy you could use is, I would skip final stretch for now. I'll go over it in a later video. And I would go into here. So I actually left some examples open, and I go into really big trades, right? And it's actually something that I'm testing, right? I'm paper trading before I end up putting a lot of money in, and I put a vertical line indicator of where I would have went in, right? And then I come back a few hours later and see where it's at. So in this case, I put the indicator at $24.5 million, and now it's at 21. So I would have lost. And then this one over here, Nyan, I actually put the indicator at 420,000, and now it's at 830,000. So what you can see is that I would have been up 96%. So in these migrated coins, which means they're being held in a radium pool, and the liquidity is a lot less. There's a lot less to worry about because the DEX is paid, but you always have to do your research and be careful, obviously. But these are the coins, the ones that I paper trade on. Let's say I'll put in $1,000, I would have been up 90%, right? So I would have made $999 within 30 minutes or an hour or however long it took. So it's important that you kind of separate your mind frame and don't make anything concrete, because whatever your strategy is now can instrumentably change tomorrow, or actually within a few seconds, right? So I recommend, and it's not financial advice, right? You're going to lose money in the beginning, right? But think about it as, there's a quote from Winston Churchill that he says, success is failing and failing without the loss of motivation. Don't get unmotivated. Do your own research. Go on, watch thousands of YouTube videos until you kind of develop a better strategy on how to get into good coins, right? So I would get into coins incredibly early here, right? So you buy in at 4,500, sell at 9,000, right? And then these migrated coins, if you want to put in more money, right? Be careful. But I would go into Discover tab over here. I would go into probably 30 minutes of trending, and I would see what's up. Like this, for example, is up 3.2%, the troll. I would put an indicator over here, and then I would lock it, and then I'd come back in an hour and see where it's at. So if, for example, it's at 24 million, I know the volume is moving up. And you always want to make sure you're looking at the 5-minute volume and the net volume, right? If the net volume is minus, it could be a good time to buy if you see that the Pro Traders is increasing. But if the Pro Traders is decreasing, which is also something you should always look at, and the net volume is going down, it's not likely that the coin's going to go up, right, within the time frame that you were hoping. So it's very, very important to do your own research. And that's pretty much it for the video. I hope I helped a little bit. And if you have any questions, please leave your comments down, and I'll make a video based on your questions. If it's something that I know, please smash the like button, subscribe, and most importantly, use my referral link down in the description. I appreciate it. God bless.